Well, Ronnie, it's not quite banners, curtains, jerseys and a camera and a boom mic. It's a hell of an upgrade. It's great to be here for Chargers Hoops TV in 2022.
Absolutely, JB. It is not at my place anymore. We are in a brand new studio and I'm absolutely loving it, JB. A fantastic upgrade and I'm looking forward to the season ahead.
And we can't wait for you to join us here in studio for Chargers Hoops TV. Start of the season, Ronnie, we're already 2 games in. Let's wind the clock back. Let's go back to game 1. You're up in Launceston, girls taking on the Tornadoes. How did it go?
Well, JB, it was certainly not the best of starts for the women's side, but they showed good signs in phases of that game. Though Launceston had a full-strength side with Kelsey Griffin and Keely Froling, their 2 main players here, JB, that really took the game by storm. Probably the first few minutes of that game really even. Timeout called by head coach Sarah Veal, and then the game opened up. A 7-zip run by the Tornadoes forces head coach Dwayne David to call another timeout, and then all of a sudden it was Launceston all the way through there. And look, there were stages there where Hobart really could have packed it in, but I thought the women did a good job of not falling under that pressure. And then, they get through for what was a reasonable loss in the end, but Launceston way too strong. So the final score was, in the end, JB, 81-43.
Yeah, tough game there for the girls going up against a really strong Launceston side, a really deep Launceston side, 2 Opals representatives in that squad. They're going to be a force to reckon with in season 2022.
And of course, JB, you were up in Ulverston for the men's game. How did you see that one?
It was a really tough competition over there, Ronnie. Really hard to match up with a really young, strong Northwest Thunder team. Of course, going up against a reasonably young side in the Hobart Chargers, AJ Harris, fresh off the plane essentially, mixing in with the big Ollie Angustine. Great to have him in the squad as well. And they found a few chemistry issues early on, bit of accountability defensively, movement offensively, all the little things you would expect when a team hasn't been together. Sure enough, started to kick in the second, third term, and just when things looked like they were starting to slip away, the Chargers started to make a big run. AJ Harris, Jack Stanwicks, Geordie Hargrave, Ollie Angustine really stepping up, really wanting to put the pressure on the Chargers. Unfortunately though, the game started to get really, really tight once again. Home crowd advantage to the Thunder, massive effort there. They managed to get over the line. Final scores on that game, 73-67, a massive game, fortunately in favour of the Thunder.
Made by nature, created by innovators, supplied by McKay's, your home of Tasmanian timber.
As we said, Ronnie, we're a couple of weeks into the season. Let's throw back to a couple of interviews from a few weeks ago, starting with head coach Dwayne Davey.
Right, let's throw to that now.
Yeah, so pretty excited to announce that we've signed Angie Tompkins as our second import. She's a 6'2", 188 centimetre forward out of Wichita State, currently playing in Turkey professionally. Again, another player that provides us with a lot of flexibility in terms of her ability to play out inside and outside. So a really strong back to the basket and facing up post game, as well as the ability to step out to the perimeter and knock down the 3-pointer. So so obviously I guess the way the game's moved in recent years is there's a high emphasis on the 3-pointer. I guess our focus will be playing inside-outside, so to get a player of Angie's ability and capabilities obviously allows us to do that in terms of getting the ball inside, engaging the defence and creating those open shots on the perimeter. So to have a couple of imports coming in along with what we've already got here in terms of our ability to shoot the 3 is really exciting.
So the thoughts there from women's head coach Dwayne Davey. Now let's go to Anthony Stewart's interview.
Yep, let's go and check that one out right now.
I think with a full squad, we a lot will ride on the the impact of our 2 imports that are coming in, which I'm quietly confident they're going to be all-stars in this league, and complement that with Harry and Jacob and Jack also. It gives us every chance. We'll be thereabouts. For the money we've spent, I couldn't be happier. Yeah, so right now we're looking, obviously AJ and Wayne, and we're hopeful Jack will be announced next week, Jack Stanwicks, and then Jacob Richards and Zach White will be the starting 5. So you've got 2 locals in there as well, and then the bench is basically a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids. It's really something new for this club, but I'm pretty sure with Harry coming in, he'll be able to support those young kids, and that's something that we probably haven't had in the past, is you're looking at a lot of 17, 18-year-olds being a part of that journey, and Harry Griffiths, Luke Brown, Callum Boucher, Phoenix Roby, all just finished under 18s, under 20s and coming through the system.
So the thoughts there from head coach Anthony Stewart. Now, JB, we're going to hear from the big kahuna himself, Hobart Chargers chairperson Brett McKay.
Let's throw back to that one and have a look.
Look, I think there's a large appetite for it. You've only got to see the Chargers and the Tawns, the crowds that we get to those games. With COVID, more people have been around the way that NBL1 is now national as well. We're seeing a lot more response, not only just people coming and watching the game, but through the live stream and even through our own Chargers TV, we're getting a lot more hits online.
With week 1 out of the way, Ronnie, it's week 2, just last week, back at the spiritual home of basketball in Tasmania, the Kingborough Sports Centre, the Hobart Chargers, massive crowd at home, taking on the Keilor Thunder.
Yes, certainly was, JB. And in the women's game, it was a much better improvement by our women's side and really showed good signs after the woes of week 1. But going into week 2, some much better performances by the girls. And Coach Dwayne Davey would be quite happy, but still, turnovers were a key factor in that game. And then for Keilor, it was the likes of Maddie Garrick taking over. And in the end, Hobart were encouraging in their battle in that second half, but Keilor able to run over the top of them. The final score was 68-55.
Yep, I think we had a lot of good patches, but we also had down patches as well. So I just think we got to stick together as a group. Hit the court next week. We have had a few extra training sessions this week because we've got to get ourselves in shape. But obviously, we've had Angie come in last week and we've also got Brooke to come in. So I think there's definitely a lot of positives out there, but we've just got to focus on the negatives and move forward for next week. I think it's really good for us young kids giving them a go. I think when they get their minutes here or there, they're all putting in 100%, and that's really good and a positive for us to keep our heads up. Yeah, it's really nice. Missed it. It gets a bit cold down here, but yeah, it's really good to be back home. Yeah, I think I did tonight. I guess it just comes from a lot of practice. I was in the gym early this morning getting some shots up ready for tonight, so I think that helped a bit.
And of course, the superstar game, the big game, it was pumped, it was feeling great, Ronnie. The crowd was in, it was building. Keilor, massive side on paper, massive side on the floor, looked to be the favourites. Really young core group for the Chargers. Bit of a rough start last week. Had AJ found his feet. What were your thoughts on the game?
Well, Anthony Stewart touted Keilor during the week as a top 4 side, but the local boys showed how they can play at this level, and I think, JB, we're quite proud of this local young group that we've got. They really stepped up to the mark. AJ Harris putting on a show, 33 points, which is a season high for him. But it was our youngsters. It was the Callum Bouchers, the Jack Stanwicks, the Brooklyn Bruden getting some cameo appearances there as well too. Ollie Angustine, who's been a massive highlight for us and has given us some great stuff on commentary. But really, this game was an absolute grind. That margin only got out to 12, 13 at one stage, and then the boys were able to find a way back into it. I really feel like their intensity, the intensity with their pressure was outstanding. For a young group to really work their tails off is very pleasing for head coach Anthony Stewart, because he had his doubts, but he really believes in this young local talent that he's got. And with maybe a couple more additions to come in, we talk about Harry Froland coming in hopefully in the next few weeks, and a couple more signings maybe yet to come. Watch this space. This men's team is only just scratching the surface, but what a game last night, JB. 89-83 win. And as we're about to talk about AJ here, he was unbelievable down the stretch.
He was sensational. He was a far different player to how we saw him on the court only a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago. Had only just found his footing. He'd been off the plane 36, 48 hours. He'd been cramped up in the back of a car driving all the way up the Midlands Highway, gets on in Ulverston, has 90 minutes to warm up, then has to try and find a groove with a team that he's essentially played 45 minutes in practice in. Started to find a bit of a groove, but again, he needed to know how his teammates played, how they shot, how they moved, all that sort of stuff. Had a bit of a banged up knee there in Northwest. I know he had 5 minutes where he really worked hard to get back on the floor, but you could see that groove coming. And last night when the pressure really was turned up, really starting to suck the team in, again, you mentioned that 12, 13 point margin, you only had to see he went to another level. His first step, his quickness, his elevation, his athleticism, his ability to hit the jumper and not back down from a fight. AJ going up against much larger opponents, really taking it to them, really catching them off guard. What more can you say? 33 points, 6 threes made, the crowd was up and about, a massive win, a great effort from our young local talent, and they're all going to be better for playing with AJ as well. The better players you play with and the better competition you play with and against, the better you're going to get. So your Stanwickses, your Robies, your Bouchers and alike are going to be far better players having played alongside AJ Harris, and their game's going to open up for sure.
We had to come out and compete. Last weekend we didn't get the job done. I feel like we got the job done this weekend because we came at home, we playing at home. It's our crowd, so we had to redeem ourselves from last week. We didn't want to go this weekend with 0-2 on our scoreboard, so we had to redeem ourselves. Everything was just opening up. My teammates were spreading the floor. We doing the pick and roll series. Everything was just opening up. My teammates was doing a hell of a job today. Oh yeah, our teammates. We play with a lot of enthusiasm. A lot of energy. Our young guys is coming in competing. Everybody's coming to competing. We just ready to play. That's all it is. As long as you come in here and play hard for 40 minutes, we're gonna get the job done. I've been wanting to be a part of this club since last season, but it didn't go that way. But I'm here now, and I want to compete with my teammates. We have a good staff. It's a family here, and I love it.
At Wilson Homes, we've been building the Australian dream for over 30 years. And today, this purpose is more important to us than ever before. That's why we're going to keep building the homes that define our way of life. So don't lose sight of your dream, because we're going to keep building for you.
2 games into the season, Ronnie, we've got another game coming up this week. Friday night, Kingborough Sports Centre against the Kilsyth Cobras, a mainstay in the competition. It's going to be a big battle for the Hobart Chargers.
Absolutely, it will be, JB. Of course, Kilsyth traditionally a very strong women's side in the competition, and it will really make it tough for Hobart on Friday night. Though Hobart will be bolstered by a new signing, Brooke Johnson, who will play the point guard role and complement Angie Tompkins as well too, along with the rest of the locals. So if Hobart can limit their turnovers, can put more points on the board and get their shooting percentage up, I feel like Hobart are within a shot here of winning this ball game. But never underestimate anyone in this league. There are no easy wins in this competition, JB. So I expect Hobart to be competitive. Can they get over the line? Ooh, it's a tough one. I'd say on paper, no, but anything could happen on any given night. But as we mentioned before, JB, Brooke Johnson coming into the lineup is huge for the Chargers. Yeah,
Brooke Johnson coming into the squad, a defensively minded point guard, is going to bolster that perimeter, going to provide some size. A 6'1", 6'2" point guard, plenty of length, plenty of reach, and that's something, particularly with a smaller perimeter, that the Chargers women have. What sort of complement do you think we can see to a Shana Thompson and an Angie Tompkins with her game?
I think she'll distribute the ball a fair bit, and I think she'll use Angie Tompkins as well too in the pick and roll situation, because both of them have played together and they're both very a complement of each other of how they go about things. So I really think that will help in that regard. I think also too, Brooke will be a very good guidance for some of our younger players that are coming through right now. So this is not only a good thing going forward, but it will be a big help Friday night, and I'll be interested to see how she goes. Well, JB, the next men's game we have coming up is against the Kilsyth Cobras, and of course, traditionally a very strong team in the competition, but maybe middle of the pack. They only got up by 2 the week before in their game. How are we seeing this game going forward? Hobart with a lot of momentum.
Yeah, a lot of momentum coming after a big win at home against Keilor. Crowd on their side, you'd have to imagine a massive game against the Cobras. Is going to see some sort of crowd attendance grow as well. Going to see a great confidence boost, and of course the team gelling really well at the moment with that senior mixed with your AJ Harris's, Ollie Angerstein obviously with some experience, but that young group that we've talked about will be a key factor there. Obviously, Ben Ursic and Adrian Tomato, two key players that will play for Kilsyth there, but currently sitting about the same spot as the Hobart Chargers. So, it's always big for a team when they travel to Tasmania. Key is to want to split the road at worst. You do not want to come into Tassie and go 0-2. So a lot of teams hungry on that Friday night to get off the plane and establish themselves. So the Chargers no doubt are going to have a really, really competitive game. Middle of the pack, of course, it's going to be a massive matchup and a tough matchup, but I really do feel that the Chargers will keep that momentum, keep building it. The crowd's going to grow, the enthusiasm is going to grow of the group, the chemistry, of course, is going to grow of the group, and I can see the Chargers taking this one at home.
Absolutely, JB, and of course you can get your tickets online on our website, www.hobartchargers.com.au/tickets. If you can't make it to the game, make sure you are able to tune into the live stream by the NBL One website or the NBL One app, and you can see the games and highlights on there.
Whatever part of your home you want to improve, Clennett's Mitre 10 has everything you need to get the job done. A wide selection of indoor and outdoor plants and pots, paint for every style and every project, complete DIY kitchens and bathrooms, and all the tools you need for the job. The local Clennett's team know their huge range inside and out, so you'll get the right advice and the right product every time. Clennett's, mighty helpful Mitre 10.
Well, Ronnie, that's a wrap on our first episode of Chargers Hoops TV. We'd love to thank our sponsors, the McKay Timber and What's On app.
Yes, JB, I'm just having a quick look at the What's On app now, and I'm trying to book my tickets online to the next Chargers home game.
There you go, you're able to get your tickets on the app as well. Well, Ronnie, that's a wrap from Chargers Hoops TV.